You're watching Hellbent Holler live, part of the Hellbent Media Network. Grab a drink, settle in, and get ready for the show.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to Hellbent Holler Live. We're going to do a mic check right now and a camera check. If you are in the chat, let us know if you can see us and you can hear us. And we will get started.
Got some new people in the chat tonight.
Yes, we do. We have lots of new people in the chat. All right, cool. Loud and clear.
Good, because these old people get on my damn nerves. Cycling through every once in a while. You know what I'm saying? So cycling through everything. New co-host, new cats, everything like
new
that.
Co-host.
New co-host.
You weren't here last week. I had to do it all by myself. So thank you to our mods for last week for being on the chat. It's hard to do this when you're by yourself because you're trying to talk and watch the chat as best as you can. But thank you to our mods for handling any issues that we had.
Because we had issues, man. I was watching remotely, and it's like me not being here. Like the pervs rolled in, man, you know.
That's what happens.
That's what happens.
The pervs roll in when I'm by myself.
Those damn pervs.
They smell blood in the water, you know.
Yeah.
So, welcome to Hellbent Holler Live. If you're new, this is our weekly show that we do every Monday at 7:30 Eastern. It's a free-form live discussion with our viewers and our fans and the hardcore hellbenders. That's everybody that's kind of been with us for a while and they're big fans of the channel. And we just do a free-form discussion. We kind of talk about what's topical in the world of high strangeness, and we get in depth on other topics. We talk about everything from Sasquatch, Dogman, UAPs, and other weird stuff. We get into philosophy sometimes, and we even get into some pretty interesting scientific topics. But we are so excited to be here and be alive. We had a bit of a crazy investigation this weekend, so we are lucky to made out of there alive. This weekend, we actually went and did a scouting mission at a new area that we will be investigating going forward. We had been contacted by a gentleman who was talking to us about how he has encountered large upright creatures near his home, and one even tried to take his granddaughter as she was putting the children into her vehicle. So we decided to go out near his area before we did our official interview with him and kind of get a lay of the land and check out the area around there. And it kind of went a little crazy.
Yeah. We'll probably show a little bit of that tonight for those who weren't able to see it. I know a lot of notifications didn't go out for the members. We've got some non-members in the chat tonight, but we went out to check this area out. We're not going to go into the details as to why that was timely.
I say it in the stream, but if you're not aware, we did a live stream from the location on Saturday night for our members. Members are getting a live investigation at least every month. So that's part of having a membership with the channel, is that you get those live exclusive on-site investigations, and we stream live to the audience, and you can get in the chat and talk.
And I'm going to be honest with you. Normally, we can't guarantee something's going to happen. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes it's just been, I mean, there have been some members only streams where we've literally been pulled over talking to the members on the side of the path because we got a signal going, guys, I just don't feel anything here, you know.
Yeah. But that's the nature of doing it live.
But at the same token, you guys kind of get to see what we see. When you see like one of the videos Jesse puts out, obviously she's not going to include like 18 hours of like boredom, you know. She's going to include like the highlights, kind of give you an idea of what happened, but just touch upon the exciting aspects of it. So I think on that night investigation we just did over the weekend, most of the interest in it was just how damn difficult it was. And for people to watch us, we were bumbling around a frozen swamp. The top layer is frozen with ice, but then you crunch through that into like 5 inches of mud. So we're wet, we're muddy.
I tried to jump over a creek and just
bit it.
Went down. It was hilarious. If you get up, turn the heat off. I'm dying in here. Right now. I am dying right now. I'm just like I'm dying. Anyway, so it was, the terrain over there was so varied. It was wild. And we've never gone into a swamp before, especially not a swamp in the winter. So I didn't know really what to expect from a swamp in the winter. And it was getting down to like the teens in the afternoon. And then it got down to like 10 degrees. During our live stream, it got down to like 10 degrees. So it was so cold. But the top layer of that mud in that swamp was frozen. And then underneath it was still mud. So you're walking along and you kind of test the mud and it's kind of firm. You're like, oh, it's safe to step here. And then all of a sudden you crash right through and you go in the mud. I attempted to jump over a creek and just ate it pretty badly. Smashed right into the mud and got mud all over myself. It was great. And then we kept exploring around and we went to that bamboo grove, which was, thank you, Francisco, for that. You want me to read that?
Yeah, we'll do it in a second. So yeah, go and finish your thought and then we'll get to it soon.
The bamboo grove was insane. I've never been in a mature bamboo forest like that.
Who the hell's been in a mature bamboo forest? Because I don't even know if you could call that a grove that was so big.
It was, I didn't know what, I was completely unprepared for that. But
well, we skirted it earlier in the day and we'd heard very distinctive, this is what's wild. The guy that had this creature come after his great granddaughter? I guess it is.
Yeah.
So mentioned that every time they're out, they'll hear like wood knocks, and that's how he knows that these things are around. So we heard very distinctive. We always talk about like, regular wood knocks, you pick up a branch off the forest floor, it's going to be like soggy or rotted, you're not, that's why you see Bigfoot researchers carry those little bats out with them. They take wood to the woods to be able to get really good tree knocks. But you do occasionally hear them. I just don't know if that's wood on wood or rock on rock, or maybe they're making some sort of vocalization that's just like a popping noise. But this was distinctive, what we heard earlier in the day, distinctive bamboo on bamboo, this very hollow, sharp kind of sound. And as soon as we heard that, we just went, something just took a piece of bamboo and smacked another piece of bamboo with it.
Yeah.
It wasn't like,
it was so distinct, and crisp.
So we heard that during the daytime, and it was very distinct. And we were going, I wonder if that's similar to what this gentleman's hearing, or if he's hearing the more traditional, not so sharp wood knocks that everybody reports. But we heard him, and then we heard him again later on when we approached the damn bamboo forest. So Francisco had said he was upstate New York with his wife in the Catskills, saw a black shiny hair animal moving fast up the mountain, and it scared me. Wife was walking my bulldog. I wonder if it was, Francesca, if you're still in here, was it like on 4 legs, 2 legs? What do you mean shiny hair? Does it just that the coat was glossy? It had like just kind of like a clean shine to it. So that's interesting. Thank you for that, though, by the way.
And so later on, I do have some footage I'm going to share with you guys, and share with you guys of kind of what we went through out there for those who are not members and did not see that live. I'm going to be sharing that with you guys so you can actually hear those knocks. I isolated those and have that.
So we usually operate, you guys know where we operate at, like North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, parts of Tennessee, Kentucky. And there's some like marshy areas. We don't usually get into them. This was like a freaking frozen death swamp that we were trying to like get into to skirt.
Yeah.
And it was like rough. And then getting into the bamboo was just terrible. It was like terrible. We were like all like bruised up. Some of it grows really close together. It's like you're trying to get through like prison bars.
Yeah.
And then
some of that bamboo was like this big around.
I've never been in a mature bamboo forest grove, whatever you want to call it, like that. But it's weird because on the other side of like the swamp, there's an old state highway, and you can hear it when you get on the hill. Mm-hmm. The sound travels really well over top of it. Because I kept going, are there cars nearby? And I'm like, oh, that's a ways away. The sound's just traveling. But I'm still going, not the most remote place ever. Not the most remote spot ever. So I wasn't really like as into the spot as like other areas we've been to. And then, but when we're seeing the bamboo things there, you can't move quietly through that bamboo. You can't move quickly through that bamboo. That's a perfect place if something wanted to hide, mm-hmm. because you come in one section of it and then they go out the next section of it.
And you can't move through it quickly at all. I think somebody in the chat during that live stream, are we still up? Or is it your phone?
Might be me. So.
Somebody during that live stream was like, oh, nothing can hide in there. Au contraire, like something mm-hmm. can easily hide in there. Even though they're very narrow, it's dense, like it's insanely dense through that forest. It was mm-hmm. absolutely something that I was not prepared to get into at all.
Yeah. Especially at night. And then the fact that the bamboo, when it falls, it formed like a latest work on the ground. You're stepping over it. So thank you for that, Tracy. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Tracy Crane. I do
Thank you, Tracy Crane. So we'll put that towards bamboo-induced medical bills here. So yeah, it was rough getting through. Francesca had a follow-up. I immediately thought Black Panther, but I couldn't see all of it. It was big.
Yeah. Wow.
Interesting. Are you guys going back up into there? It's interesting to know if you guys have plans to return to that spot. Grace had mentioned that the bamboo had you anxious. You've seen her excited before, but not scared like that I can think of.
I think I was just dumbfounded by how to navigate that. And I did not like the claustrophobia that was caused by that area.
It was, and it's completely different at night during the day. Again, we skirted it. We looked at it. We didn't go really into it too much because we wanted to try to hit. we had some areas that we really wanted to hit that were fairly close to this gentleman's like property, as close as we could get and still be on public land. The closer you get to his property, the less cell signal you have.
Yeah.
Because he himself has trouble with getting and taking phone calls out there because there's not a lot of cell service in that area. But they going in there, we weren't even really planning on going into it at night. We were planning on showing everybody what the bamboo grove looked like at night. But then we started hearing the knocks as we approached it. And we've always heard like wood knocks in the distance.
Mm-hmm.
We've always heard them in the distance. And, you know, you don't see it. It's not close by. I mean, there could be a mundane explanation for some wood knocks sometimes, you know, beyond somebody just messing with you.
But that was a very distinct
Not
sound.
this, because I even tried to replicate it in there. And when I took my knife and I hit like an actual living piece of bamboo, it still didn't have that. That's two hollow pieces of bamboo hitting together. It's such a distinctive sound. We don't usually have things that are that bold with us.
Yeah. It
usually tries to stay hidden. It stays away. You get little hints of it. But this happened as we were approaching it, and I'm going, all right, something's telling something else that we're on our way up and to get the hell out of Dodge.
And I know we're being kind of a tease for people who did not see this or haven't seen this yet. I'm going to show footage in a little bit of this so that you can actually see it and kind of get caught up on what's going on.
So we were just planning on showing the members or with us that this is an interesting feature of the terrain we're working through. This is something that's going to bear looking into. When I looked at it, I was going, God, that'd be a perfect spot for something to stay hidden, you know. Even just temporarily. Nothing could sneak up on you in there. If something comes bumbling into one area, you could go right out the rear or the sides and you could just really evade somebody in there. They come out, you dip back in, especially if you have the ability to move like stealthier and more quiet than like people do. But when we got up and then we approached it and then we heard like another knock pretty much damn near in our faces. And that's when we were like, we've got to go in there. Jesse's like, there's something in this grove right now. So we go into the bamboo grove after it. And I don't know if you isolated that grunt that we heard when we were in there.
Not yet. No.
Okay. There was a grunt that was in there that Jesse heard it. I didn't, but it came through on the camera. I mean, with the phone when we were streaming from it came through, the microphone picked it up. So something was in there and we were unable to find it. But it's so difficult to see in there because this bamboo, all you see is bamboo. And like one piece might be 4 feet in front of you. One piece might be 6 feet from you. It's just the way it's staggered. You can't really see anything other than bamboo in there. And it was like freaking nightmarish, man. It was nightmarish. I know I got snappy with you because I'm like, you need to get out of here. Go. Just because I'm looking at it going, all right, this is the absolute worst terrain we've ever operated in as far as like just being completely out of our element, you know, completely out of our element. I mean, it was terrible. I didn't like it. No bueno.
So, I have a couple starred here. Let's see here.
I'll go through them here real quick.
Yeah.
Asking about your ear. No, her ear's not fixed yet. She was out with a freaking respiratory and ear infection. And
I have to go to a specialist and I have to wait till March to go to a specialist because they're booked up until the end of March. So I have to be messed up until the end of March. So.
Excuse me. Yeah, we're both still a little coughy. No one you know says nothing good ever happens in swamps. We didn't really have any activity in the swamp other than us falling. But and then Cowboy also followed up. He goes, those knocks were distinctive. I heard them and I never hear stuff. Yeah, that was very, very distinctive for it. Simon had a weird one. I'm not trolling, but I just think you guys went too early getting people to pay for memberships to watch live streams. You're just growing your channel.
So we've had our channel for almost 5 years now?
Yeah, and it's to the point where again, I sound like a broken record sometimes with this, but we're not an interview show. We are not although tonight, on Mondays, we sit around and talk about it, but the nuts and bolts of the channel is us going out and doing field investigations. Yeah. And I don't understand what too early would be considered doing. It's not like we did this from the get-go. We've done this for years, and there was discussion had about whether or not we wanted to do this or not. And people wanted to support the channel because it's grown past what we've been able to do on our own at this point. We're hitting the point now where some of the equipment we've been using for a couple of years is starting to fail. The FLIR failed.
Yeah, we had a FLIR that just kicked the bucket.
That's that.
on us, so.
One of the GoPro units is probably going to have to get replaced eventually, just because.
But we still do videos for the public at large.
Everybody.
We do stuff for everybody all the time.
Yeah.
We just do extra stuff now for members.
Yeah.
So it's not like that we're denying anybody any of our content whatsoever. It's just that we do extra stuff for members, including these live on-site investigations.
Yeah. So, and I understand that's not for everybody. And if it's not for you, more power to you. Do you know what I'm saying? There's free stuff out there to watch on YouTube. We have like free stuff to watch on YouTube.
Yep.
The vast majority of the people that are on our members honestly aren't even in there for additional content. They're doing it because they find value in the project. They find value in the fact that there's just two people out doing what larger actual funded groups are not doing. We're going out very lean, just the two of us trying to actually document and share evidence. And we're believers, we're knowers, but we're also kind of critical. We don't fall for everything. Do you know what I'm saying? You know, we don't instantly hear something. Like I said, a lot of wood knocks, there could be a mundane explanation. The bamboo and bamboo, that was something with hands doing it.
Yep.
But anyway, there we go. Gazal could ask, will you be able to find that bamboo location again? Are you planning on going? Yeah, we're going back. We know exactly where it was.
Yeah. So like I said, that was just, that was our first real scouting expedition out there. I like how we chose the coldest night of the year to do it. But that was our first expedition out there, kind of a scouting mission to get a lay of the land. I've got to, we're setting up a time to actually interview the witness one-on-one in person. I'm going to see if he's willing to be on camera for an interview. If not, I would like to record the interview and share that with our audience. But we wanted to kind of check it out unbiased before we hear his story in depth. We wanted to check out the area where he's had experiences before and the area that's adjacent to where he is and where he's encountered these creatures before. So we were really excited to get out there in 10-degree weather and check this out for ourselves. And it was exactly like he initially said it was, with these knocks, the strange sounds. And it was, I was actually shocked with everything that happened during that. But I actually we have a video, a daytime video from that area that I will be releasing this week. So I'll be releasing that for everybody on the channel. That's going to go out probably Wednesday, but that's a daytime lookabout of the area. So anybody that was watching that live on Saturday, you can get an idea of what the area looks like during the day. We go to the bamboo grove, we go to the swamp, but we check all that out during the day. We went and got all this daytime footage out there as well. So you'll be able to see a daytime scout about. And Joe sees something weird at that point. I think we hear a couple of knocks during that. Nothing as close as what happened on that live stream, but I have a feeling the more that we go back to this area, the more we're going to experience, the more we're going to hear, and possibly the more we're going to see. But
real quick, just because there's a lot of talk about the membership stuff, and I don't want that to consume the entire show, but last person that had mentioned that, I did tell them, listen, the members are the reason why you guys have any content at all at this point, because the way it's growing and the way the stuff that we're trying to do, I'm just going to be flat out honest. We're going to do this stupid stuff, and I even said that on that live stream. I was like, we're just two stupid people doing stupid stuff in the woods. There's stupid people at home watching us. You know what I'm saying? They're just taking joy in watching us blast around.
Stupid. You were saying crazy.
Crazy. I just, it's just, we're getting covered in mud and just everything like that. We're going to do it. We just may not go through the added expense of sharing it, Anyway, real quick, Francesco had said it's a very secluded Airbnb and we will go and continue to go. Daughter will be up there next month. I even yelled to my wife as I was on the upper deck watching. All I would recommend to you is maybe get a camera. Cell phones are pretty crappy to try to take quick action shots with, especially at a distance. And be aware of your surroundings up there, man. You never know when you're, those moments might come. Just be prepared to take advantage of them and try to capture proof of what you're seeing to share with other people.
Yeah.
So
Cowboy 4572 says Joe's doing a great job now that he's back.
So
he was worried he wouldn't make it today, but he made it. Marcus Aurelius says that the bamboo is doing a great
The
job
bamboo was doing
of terrifying me.
Yeah,
Like I
good
said,
stuff.
a little later on, I'm going to show some clips that I kind of put together today. I amplified the sound on those 2 knocks by the bamboo grove. So I'll be showing those to you guys in a little bit. And I amplified them by 10 decibels at a time and repeat them so you can really hear those knocks for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So is it okay that I told them that?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay,
No,
I didn't know if you wanted to be a surprise.
Sugi, thank you for joining back up. We appreciate you.
Thank you, Sugi.
Welcome
That's
back.
awesome.
A couple other things we had starred. Love you, Michael. Male kangaroos are known to have attacked females when ovulation is occurring. I just let that be a standalone comment. No backstory, no nothing on that. Miranda wanted to know, could it have been an ape or a chimp in the bamboo? I don't know because
I hope not. Because chimps will rip off your face and rip your balls off.
Well, here's the deal: is that like primates will do. It's called root drumming. Okay, and it's weird because primates don't necessarily do wood knocking, although they do simple tool use like that. But they do this thing that's called root drumming, where they bang on the exposed roots of trees.
Yeah.
But it's literally like a drumming sound. This was just singular sharp, like knocks. But then again, we all know that we don't think we're looking for apes or chimps. I even thought at one point, Miranda, that I yelled out and just went, if there's somebody in here, we're hiking through, please let us know you're there so none of us have a bad surprise, because I don't want somebody jumping out on us and then things go nasty. So, and nobody answered. And I'm just telling you right now, not a person in there, because you guys saw it. There's no human way possible that somebody can move through that terrain quickly.
Yeah.
No human could do that. There was something in there with hands.
I
don't usually make real distinct comments like that. Something in there with hands. I walked away going, I believe, because I've been kind of resistant to all the stories we've heard through there. And I'm going, I believe every single damn one of them now. There's something going on up here. The bamboo thing was just a complete game changer for me at this point. So
it was so freaky. It was so weird. Yeah, but we will have we're definitely going to be going through that. We're going to that area again. Bristol says if it was a person, you would have heard the cussing. We were cussing.
we were
luckily
cussing
on the
like a
member
storm.
streams, we can say whatever the heck we want. But we were cussing up a storm. It was crazy.
Stitch Witch, let's see what's on your cup.
Oh, it is a planchette. There's a chick locally that makes these. There you go. A planchette.
Goshawk want to know if the cold temperature was making some of the bamboo pop and crack. No, because this was, if you heard it, that's not I even tried to kick some downed bamboo that had like split to see if that was causing it. Something falling from a tree and hitting that. No, completely distinctive. This is just as 2 intact pieces of bamboo hitting one another. It's very percussive. It's
cool.
That's just what it is. I don't have any explanation for it. Way of the Spluted said, I heard a grunt when Joe was talking about stepping off the hill. There was an ugh kind of sound. That might have been the same one that I heard at that point. So
yeah. And we're like sore today trying to get through that. I just can't imagine a person trying to get through that.
Crystal said something large is hanging out in that bamboo. There should be game trails or something similar through it. It's hard to tell because there's no real. I don't know. Looking in there, I don't know. We found
an area that looked like something was bedding down.
Found 2 areas that looked like that. So. One just looked like where the ground had been compacted, like something had been laying there. And then the other one, it looked like debris had been drug in from outside the bamboo grove and kind of erected like a little like shelter wall or something like that. So very odd.
So Grace W asked, Jesse and Joe, is it too cold for thermal? I think Lady Wolf had mentioned that, and I thought that it made sense, but I wanted to ask. Thermal is actually better in the cold.
Works great in the cold.
It works great in the cold because you're going to have such a difference in the body temperature and the environment around you. There's going to be such a difference there that whatever has body heat, whatever's putting off heat, it's going to just pop immediately. We did not pull out the thermal very much.
We didn't pull out the thermal because when I'll be honest with you, this was going to be just more of a night scouting thing. And then we told you why we were there that particular night. The terrain was so crappy to move through, especially in the marshy area. And then, even then, I was just going, there's nothing out here. I mean, there's some good stories, maybe deeper in where it's a little bit more remote. And then once we had that thing with the bamboo is too dense. Now, I did talk to Jesse that we are going to go back up there and set up with our 2 remaining thermal imagers that we have, set up stationary and watch it and see what happens. But we're going to use one of our swiftly dwindling supply of Sasquatch pheromone chips up there as well.
Yeah.
To see if we could have any effect at all for it.
So Martin Groves says, from China to our southern states, bamboo and cane is hairy man favorite home territory. We were talking about this on the way home, and I just kept saying to Joe, I was like, I don't know how to move through bamboo. I don't know. I was not prepared for that. He goes, who the hell is searching for Bigfoot in bamboo? And I said, we need to import some Yeren hunters,
We'd had a gentleman contact us a few months ago. I'm not going to mention my name, but he is having some issues with Sasquatch and bamboo. That's not something you hear every day, though.
Yeah.
And then obviously stuff in Southeast Asia. And then there's stuff with cane breaks and all that, but this is not a cane break. This is mature, thick, really dense bamboo. And it was just, if somebody had said, oh, you're going to have you're going to go through a bamboo grove, I would have gone, big deal. I've seen Kung Fu. I know what bamboo groves look like,
Yeah.
And I was just, it's completely different when you get in there. It's absolutely nuts. So, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was going to say, you can go ahead.
No, go ahead. If you want to go.
I was going to say, do you want me to show this video?
Yeah. Well, Jesse's going to show you guys a clip of the tail end of the night investigation.
So this is when we were going up to the bamboo grove. Right now, our code name for that area is the Grove. I like the name. I think that's pretty cool. So this is the clip I'm going to show you. Is about 2 minutes long, but we'll put it up here. But it's when we're going up to the bamboo grove, and you hear that first knock, and then you hear the second knock. Now I repeat it 3 times. I clipped it in there 3 times. And each time I bring it up 10 decibels. I have it labeled on the video so you'll see. So we're going to play this. So you guys, if you want to make sure you're listening close, grab your headphones if you want to. I'll let you have a little time.
You don't have any of the swamp stuff because I cursed up a damn storm in that swamp.
No, no. This is all grove, bamboo grove stuff.
Yeah. Somebody just made a comment too about
anybody that
language.
Anybody that didn't see that live stream on Saturday night, you get to see the bamboo grove right here in this clip. And I'm probably going to include some of this in the video I'm releasing on Wednesday. That is going to have some of that daytime footage that we actually went and got of this area, because that night footage and that night experience was so crazy. We wanted to share day footage with you guys as well. We've been back to this area a couple of times so far since Saturday. Since that live stream. So we have footage from that, and we'll be going there more and more often. I think so, because it's pretty wild.
And again, it's going to be something that we got to get used to, because most of the places we go to are national forests, the mountains, they're remote. You're hours away on foot to the vehicle, and then you're hours, on old gravel or dirt roads do you get to a paved road, and then it's a while to get. It's as remote as you can be, like this side of the Mississippi, where we normally go to. And this is not that. I mean, there's a town 20 miles away, 23 miles away, something like that. So it's not that bad at all, man. So it's going to be something that takes a little getting used to.
So Kim Treasure says, roll that beautiful bean.
Well, I want to address this real quick. Well, thank you for that, Simon.
Thank you, Simon.
Simon we appreciate it, man. We appreciate the support.
Yeah.
And again, we try to make sure that people are seeing the value in what we do. So we do share stuff with members. So
there's a lot of members only content available for you to peruse.
That means a lot to us. It means a lot. That's all we're going to say.
We do appreciate it. All of that goes towards equipment and us doing these investigations. Yeah. So
bandages.
Yeah.
All right. So Jesse's going to roll this. This is after we have left the swamp. At this point, it's been a fairly lighthearted night investigation. Some of the stuff that we had talked about as far as the witness accounts are pretty severe. We even talked about the fact that all the reports we're getting from this area are pretty aggressive. And we even said, we're going to be loud. We're going to we'll go quiet sometimes to see what we can hear, but we're going to try to make a scene. So if there's something out here, maybe we'll draw it in. But even then, it had been, other than us falling down a bunch, a pretty quiet night, other than the knocks we heard earlier. which we
Yeah.
did not expect to repeat.
Yeah.
So this is as we are approaching that bamboo forest. If you have headphones in, just keep them on. Turn your speakers up a little bit. Although I think with you adjusting the volume, it should come across pretty clear.
I adjusted it, like I said, and I have it labeled on each piece of footage where I crank it up 10 decibels. So you'll say plus 10 decibels, plus 20. And I repeat the 2 knocks twice. So you'll see that. And then you get to see where we kind of go into the grove a little bit. So you can see the terrain that we're working in if you have not seen that live stream already. We're going to go ahead and I don't think we're going to do much commentary during this. What do you think?
Let it go.
Let
we
it
can
go.
talk about it. And then if we want to replay it afterwards and have commentary for it, that's fine.
Sounds good. All right. So I'm just going to make this full screen on you guys. And let's check out these polls from the Grove.
Now, again, real quick, I do want to say this. This is streamed over a cell phone, okay, with some light assistance in an area that does not have very good signal.
Yeah.
So you are going to see some pixelization, and it's not going to be as crisp as our just filmed like expeditions that we do.
Yeah.
That Jesse, edits and puts out then. So there will be some pixelization, if I can get that word out. So just to let you know.
Yep. So, all right. Let's roll that beautiful bean footage, as Miss Kim Drescher says.
That's not creepy at all. Whoa. 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 Take this.
Did you guys hear that?
About 20 feet behind.
It's inside the bamboo grove. We're about to go into the bamboo grove. There it goes again.
There's something in there, Jeff.
Let's go.
There's something or someone in there.
Go.
Hold on.
Let's go in. Joe.
Watch over here for me. On my flashlight that.
This is like too close quarters for me right now. Well, there's the ruins of that plantation.
Something's in bed back over here.
Joe, there's something in here.
What? What?
Okay. All right. So, what do we think about that?
Yes.
All right. So, did you guys hear that? Did you guys hear all of that?
Michael Russell says that those clap sticks, hold them in the right way, cradled in the hands and knocked together, can affect a noise similar to that. I guess he's saying very gently grasped, not like held tightly.
Okay.
Yeah, this was a very much just it's distinctive. It's extremely distinctive. It is, we're streaming this, so we can't tell whether it came through or not. And it's difficult to like look at the chat while we're doing this. And at that point, we really didn't want to stop and go, oh, let's go through the chat and see what's going on.
Yeah.
So it's extremely weird. And we bumbled around in there for a few minutes until we heard that gruff or whatever, man. It was just bizarre. And we couldn't see anything. We can barely see each other. It actually looks more open on that than it did until we get in deeper in.
Yeah.
I mean, It's crazy.
Well, as
man.
the footage goes on, you can see kind of how dense it is, and that there was actually a spot where it looks like something had been taking materials from outside of the grove and bringing them in and building some sort of nest out of them inside the middle of the grove. So I'll be including that on the video on Wednesday as well, because I thought that was just bizarre. I mean, bizarre. We also heard several noises later and flipped the hell out in there.
Yeah. And what's weird is too, is we were leaving out when we killed the stream, we were going to work our way around and here's what did this pop up to? You guys only got one in that part of the woods. You didn't tell a bunch of your friends help you around knocking on the wood hoaxing. Yes, we have a huge network of friends who are available at our beck and call, who are
want to go out in 10-degree weather.
Out to go in 10-degree weather, and I need you to stand here in this bamboo grove we stream for what, 2 hours until we're ready to come up, and then I need you to knock twice.
Yeah, and that's it.
And they're completely happy to do that, and they yes.
Yeah.
And then we just, yes, that's exactly what happens.
You got us there, buddy.
You got us there, man. So does anybody have friends like that as an adult? You know what I'm saying? So, hey, I need you to go do this. Anyway.
Marcus Aurelius gave us a compliment. One of the best audio captures ever.
Why,
thank you. Thank you.
And Moondog Davis had this too. And I haven't, gorillas build nests like that. That one was weird, man. I mean, there are branches that had been pulled in there, and you saw how they were. They were kind of, I won't say woven, stacked, kind of woven through the bamboo, stacked one on top of the other to kind of like make a barrier. Very weird. I can't rule out that it was natural. But I don't know how that wood would have gotten back in there. I don't know. It's just weird. But I literally, that was like a defining moment where now I'm just kind of going, yeah, I know the stories are great, and the accounts all kind of match up, and it's interesting, but the area didn't really speak to me. It just didn't speak to me. And after this, it speaks to me now. And now I'm just going, all right, here's what we need to do. We need to do this. We need to allocate more time out here. And that's what we're going to do.
And wait till you guys see the footage of the swamp in the daytime. I know that on that night footage, we got a little bit, you could just see what our flashlights could illuminate. But the daytime footage of the swamp, that swamp is huge. It is a vast bit of wetland. So I'm super excited to open the case on this area.
Well, it's just for people that are still piecing it all together. We've got the gentleman who has had a lot of activity around his property. We're still getting the details for this. Cell service in his particular part of that area is almost non-existent. So Jesse's talked to him some. We've traded some emails. She's talked to him very briefly. He and his wife are currently fighting COVID. So we're hoping if they're watching this that you guys are feeling better. Looking forward to reaching out and speaking to you guys in depth more to hear more about your encounters there. And are we okay to share this? Did he say we can share some of this, not share it?
We can talk about some of it.
So
don't give any
no, we're not going to
identifying.
No. But he apparently got to the point where he was keeping an AR-15 handy, or he's just the sort of dude who keeps an AR-15 handy in the best of times. I don't know, but he popped off several rounds at it with an AR-15. And that's literally all we know about it at this point. I don't know if he thinks he hit it, anything. Near there have been 2 bow hunters that have been chased out. One of which we know was also armed with a sidearm, who said that what he saw, he didn't think the sidearm would do anything to. He was carrying just a 9mm. And that he just chose to get out.
Yeah.
And then there's another sighting that is not necessarily aggressive, but there's some weird qualities to it where the witness has been very distressed after the sighting.
Yeah.
So the activity there is just it follows the southern stereotype of Sasquatch are smaller and more aggressive here than in the Pacific Northwest or Canada at that point. So there you go. But again, the area just didn't speak. I didn't go there going, this is where we need to spend all of our time at, you hear a lot of, during the daytime, you hear a lot of small planes. You heard small planes at night there occasionally, It just doesn't give you that feeling when you're there investigating it that you're in like a real remote area, you know.
It's not like
because
it's not like our North Georgia expeditions where we have to travel so far up the mountain and there's literally no one around for miles and miles and miles. There is a highway in the distance that you can sometimes hear on the audio. If somebody's got like a big diesel or something going down the road, you can kind of hear it. So but I mean, you got to think too that a lot of sightings are roadside crossings, you know, so you got to think that Sasquatch is not only found in super remote areas; he's found around these areas.
Everybody knows what I think. I don't think that we have a breeding population of undiscovered gorillas in the woods. It may be a breeding population of undiscovered gorilla-like creatures somewhere else that pop here every once in a while, and another dimension, another reality, underground, something. They're just not in the woods all the time, or we'd have them in cages at this point.
Yeah.
Okay? Or somebody would have a head mounted in their den, you know. But you always hear these stories of they're not just in the most remote woods. You know, they do occasionally come up to the edges of civilization. And we get reports like that all the time. People from the suburbs talking about it. And to me, that's always kind of reinforced that idea that these are just not natural undiscovered animals. Okay. But it's still based upon how we've always approached this and what we do, we go into remote areas because we believe that, I don't know if you want to say the right mindset, maybe it's the vulnerability that we have when we approach it kind of heightens this stuff.
Yeah.
But again, 20 miles to another town, there's a highway over there. It's just not somewhere where I would go to. That's where we need to spend our time at, you know. But guess what? That's where we need to spend some time at now. That's definitely.
Here's some crazy explanations. Could have been ice fall off of an aircraft.
Yes.
I got another one. The small planes could be dropping dope shipments. We need to explore.
We're gonna have. We
need to explore that bamboo a little more.
We joke about Cocaine Bear all the time.
Cocaine Dogman.
Cocaine Dogman. So yeah. Wow. All right.
Yeah.
That was such a hectic investigation. Yeah, it was crazy. It was absolutely crazy. It is. Mr. Chuck had joined us. Thank you, Mr. Chuck, for becoming a member.
Thank you, Mr. Chuck 64.
And then I don't have it on here, but Francisco joined. I thought I'd start that. So thank you, Francesco. We appreciate that. Francisco, I'm sorry. I'm having a hard time talking today. I think I rattled the old dome in that bamboo. I mean, we were covered in like bruises, bashing, because you would look at something and I would go, all right, I can squeeze between this bamboo. And I couldn't squeeze between that bamboo, especially with a backpack on and like bundled up like that with a freaking chest rig and everything like that on. It was just we took a beating in there that night. So
Simon asked, would that have been a good time to send up a drone? We don't have a thermal drone. So our regular drone would have been useless at night. You would just see blackness.
And the bamboo's so thick through there. I don't know if you could see it. You're definitely
even if you had a thermal drone.
You're not flying a drone into that. Even if you've got a drone with collision avoidance, it's just gonna. The drone's just gonna go no way in hell. I'm not going.
Eventually, we'd like to have a thermal drone. That way, we can actually kind of get a bird's eye view at night.
Every year.
So eventually, we'll have a thermal drone, and we'll be able to utilize that in what we do.
Kim had asked, how old is the granddaughter? I don't know the age. Do you know the ages for any of these?
She has children, so she is.
So that's the great granddaughter that he tried to.
We tried to take the granddaughter.
He tried to take away. Also, he thought it tried to take the adult.
Yeah.
Mother of the great. Gotcha.
Yes.
Okay.
She was out putting the great granddaughter into the car.
Yes.
That's why is the factor.
Gotcha. Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense now. All right, that makes sense. So, Todd Mitchell, good luck if you had to defend yourselves or try to get out in a hurry in that confined growth. Yeah, it was not good, man. It was not good. We had already gotten out of the frozen swamp. And I'm covered in mud. What do you got?
Wood booger sugar.
Wood sugar booger.
We just opened up a new chapter to Sasquatch.
We're gonna come across some like geeked out like Bigfoot in there one time.
Booger sugar Bigfoot. Good God, you guys have done it now.
Cocaine Dogman, and we were even talking about Cocaine Dogman a couple of days ago. And Jesse was like, "Is Cocaine Dog Man still a thing?" And I said, "I think it's kind of died down with all the group. I think it's kind of died down a bit." But
now it's wood booger sugar.
Now it's wood booger sugar.
Catherine Gay says, "Who hasn't hit the like? She'll find you and she will punish you accordingly." Oh, don't get bamboozled.
Good Lord.
The bamboo puns.
Anyway, I mean, so you guys heard it. You guys heard that. So other than ice falling off an airplane or our dedicated cabal of hoaxing friends who choose to spend their Saturday nights with us in freezing woods.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So
Our cabal.
to me, that sounds, you guys told me that's very sharp. That doesn't even sound like normal wood knocks. At least the ones that
But
we've
it's
heard.
like that.
It sounds like two hollow pieces of freaking bamboo
Yeah.
that have been. I even took my knife out at one time and just banged on like a living, just bamboo tree, like a very thick one, and it didn't quite have that hollow sound to it. That's what's making me think that it's a piece of bamboo, a dried piece of bamboo that's using to hit either another dried piece of bamboo or like an actual living piece of bamboo in there. I don't know. We need to try to replicate.
When we go back out there, we'll replicate it. You can. Well, you know what? I'm terrible at trying wood knocks. I'll stand outside the grove and listen, and you go in the grove and do the knock.
That's fine.
Because my knocking is horrendous, hilarious, and leads to injury.
Thank you for that dead end yard hunt. Another puff for the dog man.
Nice. Nice.
We're probably on some DEA watch list.
Again?
And they're going, I don't know what's up with this channel. I think they're fronting as like a cryptozoology paranormal research channel, but their live chat on Mondays is tripping all the algorithms for the AI that we've got watching it. We think Dogman's a code word for street level dealer. We think that Bigfoot is a code word for some sort of regional drug kingpin. We really need it. We're going to get raided one of these days, like live on the air. So again.
Somebody said that you're doing it. Mr. X Joe is doing a good job. This was my graphic for last week because you weren't here. We could actually bring Joe back. But at any moment, we take it away. We could take Joe away at any moment.
Quinn Montoya asked, did the lightning sensor register anything? No, it didn't. And what's crazy is we took no instrumentation other than that. And that's just because that lives on Jesse's chest rig nowadays. But we didn't take any of the other instrumentation at all. Just because part of it is that we were so bundled up because we had to take additional cold weather gear in our packs to kind of layer up as the sun kind of went down. So we didn't have a lot of extra room, and we're wearing thick gloves. We were going to be streaming. So we didn't take a lot of that, but we did have the lightning detector going on, and nothing at all. I mean, nothing in the slightest, not a peep.
Yeah. Could it be we're not dealing with anything overtly supernatural?
I don't know. I mean, again, and here's the deal is that they're looking at this, and I've always been going, I don't see there being a breeding population. If there is a breeding population, they're not dumb apes, because there is a conscious, intelligent plan to not be discovered and be that close to civilization. But that's what we've just never had, in your face wood knocks like that. You know what I'm saying? We've never had them. So
yeah,
that's just so weird.
Pyromedic has an interesting thing here. He says that Shane Carpenter finds the sticks and holes in the 400.
That little stick that was in the ground, that earth mound thing when we went in. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Huh.
That's what he's talking about.
Because I looked at that.
Missouri Broad says the stick in the ground looked like it was stuck into an anthill. It had a pile of loose dirt on the ground around.
Yeah,
it.
but it wasn't a bamboo. It wasn't
like.
A bamboo stick. It wasn't like a piece of bamboo. It was like hardwood of some sort. There was no hardwood right there. I mean, there's hardwood. I don't know, 100 yards.
Oh, we didn't even. Oh God, I called Kim Drescher when we were heading home. I called Kim Drescher to tell her we were alive, and we've completely forgot this factoid. We told Kim this, but we've not told them this. When we got out. We ended the stream. We kind of looked around and we were like, we need to get the hell out of here. We're not really prepared for this. We ended the stream. We were leaving, and outside of the bamboo grove was a large piece, like a 30 or 40 pound chunk of white quartz just on top of the ground. Just just sitting there on top of the ground. Yeah. I don't know if we had missed it before and it was there, but it was just on top of the ground. So it wasn't like buried into the ground or anything. I thought that was weird. Make sure you hit that like button.
Please hit that
everybody.
like button. Francesca want to know, where's our Amazon wish list? We don't really have an Amazon wish list. We compiled most of our equipment over the years. We are going to have to start replacing stuff.
Yeah.
We might eventually. We were hesitant to even like launch memberships, even though we just went into a passionate defense of them just a few minutes ago. We might eventually do something like that. Part of it is part of the reason why I've been kind of reluctant to do it is that I'm just gonna be honest with you. A lot of the stuff we use is like freaking expensive as hell.
And not on Amazon.
And it's not on Amazon. Or if it is on Amazon, it's something where I'm just sitting there going, I would feel uncomfortable if somebody bought me this, you know. Like a new thermal imager. I would feel uncomfortable if that showed up, you know. I really love the channel. I don't know if I could handle that or not. So
Hawk, thank you for that $50. It's gas
I'll take that $50 from Hawk though. So
for your hoaxing friends to join you in the grove.
But you know what? Here's the deal.
They're gonna need like coats and
there's
stuff.
a lot of hoaxing that goes on, you know what I'm saying? And we're gonna laugh at it. You know.
Thank you for that, Hawk.
Thank you for that, Hawk. We appreciate that. That's gonna get some more hoaxers on the payroll. But I understand why people think that. You know what I'm saying?
We'll get 3 knocks out of that.
There is
That'll buy us 3 knocks.
Good Lord. So anyway, but I understand why people think that. At this day and age, hardly, you know, there are people that don't believe anything at all for it. And that's understandable and that's fine. And, you know, we're going to switch gears and then get back to this because I was going to talk about this later, but this is a perfect detour. Seeing this with the UFO stuff, and I'm watching because there's been some UFO stuff that's happened, UAP stuff that's happened over the past like week. And getting on like Reddit and just watching how the venom and the anger that so many people have about anything that comes out. And I'm going, you know what? The disinformation campaign that the government did is a success. You know what I'm saying? A resounding success. They don't want people to believe everything. You shouldn't believe everything. Mm-hmm. They want people to just approach everything going, it's fake. You guys are all this and this. That's what it wants. That's how this has been able to avoid any discovery on this at all.
Yeah.
And you see it in the Bigfoot community, and that's fine. I mean, there's a lot of people out there doing crazy stuff. And if you
definitely see it in the UAP community and definitely in the Bigfoot community.
But you just don't see where they don't. But again, it's I don't know if you
Did you just have a stroke?
I just had a stroke. I'm also looking at stuff.
You're like in the middle of a sentence.
Yeah, but anyway, it's just something that everybody. It's always going to be a part of this community. You're always going to have people that believe literally everything, and you're going to have people that believe literally nothing. The quote that I heard, and we were listening to Richard Dolan talk to the UFO boys, freaking from.
Jeremy
Weaponized.
Corbell and George Knapp.
Yeah, and he said, they were like, well, what do you trust? And he goes, I trust my judgment. I trust my ability to not accept everything or not to disbelieve everything, but I take everything on its own merits and then I make my own judgment. And that's what I trust, is I trust my own judgment. And I went, that's such a great way. You know, it's like when the Supreme Court tried to define pornography and they were going, well, how do we define it? Well, I'll know it when I see it. I know it when I see it. So.
And I've seen a bit, so I'll know it.
Yeah.
You know, Zaplin said, Cousin Ed out there banging on bamboo with cold steel bats. Cold steel bats would probably be pretty good at wood knocking.
There's that polypropylene. I think they'd have like a dull thud. I don't know. I don't know.
See how good I am at fucking. Sorry, I just the effing word.
Just wait. Channel's done. Thanks, guys. So.
See how good I am at wood knocking and stuff. I can't find the right materials. I'm terrible at finding the proper sticks.
You are the worst.
I'm the worst wood knock attempter.
Because again, we don't really do wood knocks. We don't do call blasting. We don't cast footprints. But it's just Jesse will pick up the most soggy, rotted stick that's literally coming apart in her hands.
And I'm going, who I am.
And I'm going, out of the entire forest, this is the stick that you just chose. This stick that's literally, your fingers are just soaking into the side of this like rotted, just wet wood. This is what you chose to do your wood knock in. Have at it. Let's hear what it is. And it's always the same.
I'm an abysmal failure at wood
You've
knocks.
had one good tree knock the entire time we've done this.
That's how you know that I'm not hoaxing these, because mine would just be a.
It's just this wet thud, like a bag of wet cement hitting a friggin' sidewalk. JD Smooth had said that was weird. That stick was stuck like that. And you know what? I'm going to have to revisit that. At the time, if I'm not mistaken, we go, what the hell is that? And we walked up, but we were focused on like the death grove in front of us and the wood knocks that came out. One of the things that we kind of touched upon earlier is when we killed the stream because we were going to kind of try to move around and try to get into the bamboo grove from another section. At that point, and I'm still convinced, we were dealing with something that had hands. We were dealing with something that was able to move through that grove far quieter and quicker than we could. And I'm just going, we've already streamed for a while. We can't stream going back in here. We need to not be distracted going back in. We're moving around. We found this big piece of quartz. What do you think that thing was? 30, 40 pounds?
I just talked about
this. Oh, you did talk about that when I was distracted?
No, you ignore me. You just don't hear what I say. And I was like, isn't that weird? And you're like, yeah, it's weird.
If you did, I'm sorry. I was reading the chat.
Go on.
But it's that's bizarre too, because the grass was still alive.
Now he's enthusiastic.
Now I'm enthusiastic about it. So,
yeah.
But
now he has an interest in the quartz.
Yeah. So anyway, it's weird out there. We're going back out there. We're going to. I am going to try to deploy a long duration recorder out there in that bamboo grove. Now, there's going to be plane noise that goes overhead. Depending on how it is, you might be able to hear some of that road traffic from the road on the other side of where that marsh is, like that swampy area. So that means that when I'm visually looking at the sound, I'm going to see it's going to take a long time to review it if we run it even for just a week.
Yeah.
But I think that's what we're going to do.
Well, I don't know. We might be able to see the difference between a tunk,
oh yeah, you'll be able to see it. It's
and
just
then a vehicle,
yeah,
in and out.
But it's something we're going to try to run. We're going to try to run a recorder out there at least for a week to begin with, and then we'll go.
I think YouTube's going to give me one F-bomb for the show.
What's that?
They'll allow me one.
One. So
I think they allow me one.
Boy, NTS, the community in other countries is an entirely different vibe. Acceptance is a major trait. The U.S. government screwed themselves on being first contact with creating an inhospitable, and then hold on, populace. Yes, yeah, that's what I looked at today, man. As I was going, man, it doesn't matter at this point. The goalpost's always going to move. Evidence is not going to be enough for a lot of people, but they've been trained for that. They have been, and I think that's the problem of not using your judgment with this stuff. Don't accept. There can be a really blatant, crazy hoax that a lot of people believe, but it's fake. It's not true. And there can also be real legitimate activity and real legitimate strange phenomena that occurs. They're not mutually exclusive. Okay. Just because one hoax doesn't occurs doesn't mean it disproves all the real stuff that happens. And just because something real happens doesn't mean that you have to give credence to judgment. I trust my judgment at this point. So.
No one said, I've never witnessed a couple fight over quartz. I appreciate this.
Oh, you should see some of the things we fight over. So Robert Randolph goes, actually a damn good night. If you created an Amazon wish list, it could be for the smaller things you use during your hunts. Vienna sausages, turkey jerky, batteries that will leave more money for.
I like those barbecue Vienna sausages.
I knew we were going to get
I'm
switched,
so into those barbecue Vienna sausages. Those are so good. So good.
Quartz and selective hearing been there. I was reading some of the chat, man. So we had a lively chat tonight. So
talking about Cold Steel has a cricket bat now. So
yeah, no, but it's that same polypropylene stuff. It's that dense, like kind of rubbery plastic. So it doesn't mean I don't want it.
But will it make the tonka? The tonka?
The tonka.
Jesus, my God. Today's been a day.
Susan C. had said, and this is another good one too. Yes, there are hoaxers. There's also fake trolls. There are these people who sit in their mama's basement and get paid to criticize and demonize every Bigfoot, Dogman, UFO, etc. that seems legit. I'm glad you mentioned that because again, just talking about how just so much like just vitriol on Reddit that you see on stuff like this. I know it's Reddit. That's pretty much what the whole damn thing's based upon, but especially in the UFO community. But I saw them talking about how when the jellyfish and all that came out, that just jellyfish UAP and then like the chandelier UAP came out. People that do more than just kind of just cursory glance at it like you and I do. People that are on there a lot, we're going, I've seen so many new accounts just show up out of nowhere, brand new. Mm-hmm. And they're just die hard on attacking and like debunking these. Somebody else had mentioned that the main UFO Reddit had something like 500,000 members before David Grush came out.
It's 2.2 million.
2.2 million now. And he goes, and it seems like the majority of them very strongly disbelieve in UFOs and hate them. And I'm going, do people really? I know some people will do that, but again, I always use myself as the example. I don't like golf. That doesn't mean I'm going to go join the golf Reddit and spend hours out of my day telling them how much golf. So I'll show them. I'm going to tell you that golf sucks, and I'm going to do it day after day after day.
That sounds like constructive.
You're right. It's just weird how, and I know that some people are just, there are people like that. That this topic seems to attract a particular type of person who spends a lot of time on it, but yet hates everything about it and everybody involved in it.
Yeah.
It's always been the way, but it just definitely seems like there has been a real, it's one of two things happening. Either there's millions of people out there that literally have nothing to do with their lives and decide to spend it upon talking to people about something that they disbelieve in and hate, or there's a concerted effort to kind of steer the conversation about that. So
Joe is the bane of golf Reddit's existence.
Oh, good Lord. So anyway.
He's the duffer buffer.
The duffer.
But
what? So
you're talking about the UFO Reddit. I was on there earlier and people were talking about that Sean What? Oh. People were talking about the disinformation stuff. Sean Kirkpatrick came on there and he was talking about how all of this is BS. All of this is just nonsense. What he blatantly lied about what people were saying to Congress and everything. And of course, like the New York Post and Vice, which used to be kind of the cool alternative media outlets at one point in time, just jumped on that. Do you think going down the line here that some of these groups, like these Bigfoot groups that are really into being skeptical, and that's their whole identity, is that their purpose? Is it to be the disinformation agents of the Sasquatch world?
Well, I mean, here's, again, I always look at it like this. I go back and forth. I go, we know that, I say the same damn thing every show. The Air Force in the 1950s and 60s put people specifically into UFO groups to keep tabs on the people that were in there and also to kind of spread chaos and all that. There was no social media back then. Nowadays, I'm going, I don't even know if they need to go that far. They just let, I think that they're online. I think there's a lot of like bot activity, and I think that's just going to get better and better as it goes, as AI advances to steer it. But as far as like just actual people that are into it, I don't know. I think some people are just so conditioned that, this is a sensational subject. Okay. It's sensational. And there's that stigma that's always gone along with this stuff. National Enquirer articles about some dude in a trailer park seeing Bigfoot, or, this, toothless hillbilly saw like, a UFO. There's always been this stigma that goes along with it. And even now you get it with like normal people. It's lessening. There's more and more people coming up, like becoming aware of this stuff, but you get it all the time. Oh, you hunt for Bigfoot? Oh, and then just that little stupid laugh that you get. But it's weird how you get a lot of this is a vehicle for people who don't feel very good about themselves to feel temporarily better about themselves at somebody else's expense.
Yeah.
I don't know if Daryl Denton's in here, but Daryl Denton's got like I think he's got the biggest Bigfoot Facebook group in existence. You know what I'm saying? And some people, one of which is like a kind of moderately well-known like researcher, they've got a little group, and it's the cringiest photo you've ever seen in your entire life. It's people who obviously don't go outdoors that much, and they're adventure hats.
This is why we don't get invited.
This is why we don't get invited anywhere. But they had gone on there and they had posted a very silly idea number 2 of the Bigfoot world, and they were talking about Mindspeak. I've never experienced Mindspeak. Okay, never have. I've heard Mindspeak stories that I look at and go,
you barely register regular speech.
I don't barely register regular speech, but I'll hear stories that don't seem that believable, and then I hear other stories from other people who are extremely believable. But they're on there going that there's no scientific basis in this, and I'm going, again, this thing of just of just taking a very narrow view of science, because there's some very bright people doing research right now that would kind of lend credence towards the idea that your brain is a receiver and possibly even a transmitter. And so it's really not outside the realm of science fact anymore. I mean, we may not know how to do it, but it doesn't mean it's impossible. We didn't know how to do heavier than air flight once upon a time. Didn't mean it was impossible. We just didn't know how to do it. So, and it's just weird because I'm just going again, this thing where you just, this attack, I'm going to put those people in their place. All right, great. You did good for you. Now maybe get off the couch and go out and look. And like, if you really want to advance the topic and try to do something there, what were you doing? You were holding your little finger up.
Oh, I was just, that's what they're doing.
Is that they're holding their fingers up?
That's
literally?
What they're doing. Yes. Actually, Timothy Blayton says, how many of these disinformation idiots have really spent much time in the woods?
And guess what? Here's the deal. We get people all the time that go, I'm, in my 60s, I've spent my whole life in the woods, never seen or heard anything weird. And I'm going, yeah, you may not have. This stuff doesn't happen every day. Even then, it seems like it happens more often to some people than it does others. Even then, it seems like a lot of people practice very active self-deception, maybe not believing every little weird thing, but maybe people have seen something in the woods before and then just gone, well, that's impossible. I had to have seen a bear. My eyes were playing tricks on me. I saw a bear. So all of this stuff's subjective, man. So I don't know.
Lady Wolf is doing a great job.
Why? What's going on? Is she booting people out?
She rules it with an iron fist.
Oh, an iron fist.
Like sometimes I'm afraid I'm gonna get booted from the stream.
Y'all are gonna show up. Let's just be Lady Wolf going. They'll be back in 15 minutes, guys.
There'll be an X over my name.
All right. So what else we got here?
Oh goodness.
Somebody had said, isn't there quite a bit of, this is why we don't get invited to stuff like this. There is. And you know what? It's like this in every small, like narrowly focused group that has like, kind of weird interests. Huh? Oh, good Lord. So yeah, it does. And it's easy to get focused on that. But I mean, our big thing nowadays is just laugh at it and move along. You can't put an X over my name. I'm going to put an X over your name. So.
You don't know how.
All right. Let's see what else we get here. Did Lady Wolf like boot somebody out? Did I miss? I'm trying to keep an eye on the chat. Marcus Ruiz goes, I'm amazed there's so few trolls in the chat on this channel. I have a thing where usually when people leave comments, and because I'll have people leave comments that are not very positive, and I'll try to like engage them if I'm answering comments that day. But a lot of times people will leave comments and you can just tell there's no speaking to them. It's insulting, it's derogatory, it's everything like that. I usually just block them from the get-go, so they don't really have an opportunity to come back in unless they make another account to come back and do it. It's the beautiful thing about this is that we don't really come into a lot of like ego. So we're not, if some dude out in like Wisconsin thinks that we're fake and doesn't agree with what we do, knock yourself out, man. I mean, so it doesn't really, so we're pretty quick on the draw as far as like getting people.
Can I offer you a grape?
I'll take a grape in this trying time. So yes. So we're pretty, again, if there's people that want to have like meaningful dialogue, that's one thing, but it's, just being like D-bags. We don't really do it.
D-bag free.
D-bag, man. So, all right, let me get caught back up. Sorry if you hear my grape eating noise.
Where did I go here? I'm behind.
I'm hella behind. So, all right, I'm going to get caught up here.
All right, here we are.
Ballhead says, people that search for Bigfoot put food out for them. Have you ever thought of that? No. I approach this from the standpoint of somebody who is very invested in folklore and tradition. Okay, folklore is basically our ancestors telling us what they experienced in the past. It's not just all metaphor and analogy. some of it I quite honestly think is literal, and the accompanying superstitions are how they dealt with it. I don't gift things. To me, that's almost like leaving offerings for something. It's almost like a form of worship. There's a quote in anthropology: you feed what you heed, and you see that with a lot of like fairy lore in Western Europe, where you put little dishes of cream out so they don't slaughter your cattle and all that. So we don't do gifting for it. Although I will say this: we put cookies out for Santa this year next to our tree.
Yeah.
And I can't remember who did it, but somebody just went, "Oh, has Joe given up on his leaving offerings for supernatural beings?" And I went, "Touche, damn, well done. You've got a point." Yes, I'm a hypocrite with that, but no, but we don't do gifting, we don't do offerings, we don't do anything like that at all. I know people disagree with me, but I don't have a very favorable opinion of a lot of this phenomenon. I don't think that a lot of it has our best interests at heart. It's not something I would want to feed. We go out looking for it to try to like further our understanding, and then try to maybe share some of the stuff that we experience with you guys. But I don't think it's like the Easter Bunny and stuff like that. I don't think it's good. I think at best it's just completely indifferent to us. So we don't do anything like that at all. But then again, never say never, because we like trying weird stuff. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to do the old peanut butter jar and leaving like, candy bars out, but there may come a day when we decide to do something food related as well.
I'm not offering any of my Vienna sausages.
No Vienna sausages.
So don't even ask.
So,
but we have had witnesses who have done gifting, and it seems like they've done gifting successfully.
And then you've heard stories about how when they tried to stop it, everything went like haywire.
Kind of goes to crap after they stop the gifting. So we don't really want to habituate anything like that.
Now we will do the goat. We will do the Jurassic Park method of trying to lure something in.
We made the joke that we were going to stake me out.
Put
on
a
Saturday.
Rope around our. See, Martin's the exact same way. I do not bow to the hairy man nor give gifts. So
I brought up that meme when you were talking about the fairy and the fairy lore. Kind of weird how every culture has a fairy, gnome, or little man myth. Probably nothing.
So, JD Smooth, are you guys going to add more for help or just for security? Probably not. It would be awesome having a extra set of hands out there. Just because we're always limited by what we can carry.
It's just difficult to find somebody to consistently help us with anything that is nearby enough. And
the more people you have, I think the
less activity
you get. That's just always, I stay by that. I think that 2 is a magic number for this stuff. You're not alone, which is helpful even if like something mundane happens, like a twisted ankle or heaven forbid a snake bite or something like that. You've got somebody with you. But now I know big groups will experience stuff sometimes, but moving with 2 people alone through the woods, I think that heightened sense of vulnerability plays into this. I think even if it's just psychological on our part, and that's why I had a hard time with the area that we were just in, because I'm going, there's a road, like there's a town 20 miles away from here. If tragedy struck, if nothing else, I could walk and find this town, and that takes some of that feeling of vulnerability away from you, of isolation away from you. I don't think you necessarily need it in that area that we were just in, but I think you do need it in some of the areas we've been in. I think that factors into it, that you were not necessarily at its mercy, but that the fact that it's always been like that. John Keel would talk about how UFO sightings seem to happen in areas that had lesser population density during hours when most people were not active. It wanted to be seen. It just didn't want to be seen by a lot of people. And I think that stays true. I don't understand the rationale behind that, but that seems to be a factor with some of this stuff. So
Pyromedic has a great suggestion. He says we should repurpose the tree knockers. Problem solved.
You guys are off tree knocking duty. You're carrying this pack, and I got you on security. So
who's gonna knock on the trees?
See, in Fraser's View, we talked about that. I put out a jar of peanut butter on my back 20. 3 days later, I found an empty jar with the lid on it. Now that's interesting. I go armed to my property now. Huh. Again, that's something with even if an animal got the lid off, they would not probably put that lid back on. Timothy Bladen, one thing I wanted to tell you guys is my dad saw a catamount in Callison, South Carolina in Greenwood County, late 20s or 30s. Now, catamount,
That's a mountain lion.
Sometimes that's where I was going to. Catamount, painter, and all that are usually terms for mountain lions, cougars, even black panthers. But catamount in certain parts of the South is also used for booger, basically, because of the screaming. So did your dad see a mountain lion, or did he see the boogeyman? Did he see a booger or something like that for it?
I've actually gotten some reports from Greenwood County over the past 6 months or so.
Reach out to us on, why don't you slap that email up there?
Yeah. Pew. That's how you can get in touch with us. It's helmetholler@gmail.com. So shifting gear or not?
Yeah, we mob down there. We do have a lot of Australians. We attract people. We attract a certain mindset.
Descendants of convicts?
Yes, the descendants of convicts. So yes.
I
am Irish.
You're also a descendant of a
yes,
convict.
indeed.
We're all in good company.
We're all in good company here. These are our people.
I think we're definitely descendants of convicts.
Yes. So
I think that's fair enough to say. I was going to shift gears here. I am working on a new project that I'm adding to Help It Holler. It's a new little program that I'm going to be doing. It's going to be just me doing it. But it's going to be called Hell or High Strangeness. And we've mentioned this before, but if you have a encounter that you would like to talk about on my show, and come on, we'll talk. It'll be me and you one-on-one talking about this. We can do video or just audio. I'm going to do a show like that, kind of weekly, maybe bi-weekly, where we talk about encounters and people can tell their story about what they've experienced and what they've gone through and what they may be currently experiencing where they are. So I just wanted to throw that out there that I'm going to start doing that here and there. If you guys want to join in, you can email us at helmetholler@gmail.com and we can get the ball rolling on that. I don't know when I'm going to start doing that. I got a couple of people I'm talking to right now about being on that, but that is something that we're adding to the repertoire. That's not going to be tons of fun and games and stuff like that. It's going to be maybe more of a serious, in-depth interview show with people who have had encounters, or guests as well, where we can talk to other people in the field.
And the whole goal behind this is again, we wanted to kind of expand this thing a little bit. I'm a terrible interviewer. I will probably have absolutely nothing to do with this segment of Helmet Holler, just to let you know. That will be a draw for some of you. But the shows like that where people go on and talk about their encounters usually go one of two ways, at least in my mind.
Mm-hmm.
It's a total hands off, you just let the person talk, and that's great. You know what I'm saying? That's very good. Others where basically it's the witness is just an Ed McMahon sort of character, so the host can sit and talk all the time. We wanted to approach this from the standpoint of people who actually go out and investigate this stuff. Let the person talk and tell their story, but then ask them some probing questions. See if we can draw more out of them. Everybody that we've ever talked to that has approached us about activity. I was having a phone conversation with a friend of ours a couple of days ago who's having activity around his place. It's a really interesting story. Even him, he took a day to prepare himself. Even then he's going, oh, and I almost forgot. Because a lot of times when the stuff's going on, it's a big deal. And then the next thing happens and then your focus is on that. So it's really helpful to have somebody kind of pull stuff out of you sometimes.
Yeah.
And I think that we're decently qualified to do that now, where we, can actually get in there and have them have a stage to share what happened to them, but then have an interactive discussion that's not trying to browbeat them over with your own personal theories, but try to draw some stuff out that maybe they experienced and the significance is lost upon them, So did you want to put your little thing up?
Yeah, I'll put this up here, but it is called Hell or High Strangeness, True Stories of Cryptid Encounters, Hauntings, and Contact with the Other. So I'll be hosting that, and it's going to be more of an in-depth Art Bell type interview show. So it'll be me talking one-on-one with the witness. If you've had some kind of encounter, you can email me at hellbentjesse@gmail.com, or you can email us at hellbentholler@gmail.com. I check both of those. So if you want to be a part of that, if you would like to share your encounter or your experience on Hell or High Strangeness, get in touch with me and we'll set up a time to do that. But like Joe said, I want to come from the perspective of somebody who is a field investigator, who maybe will ask more in-depth questions that nobody else thinks to ask, and maybe, get a little deeper on what happened, why you think why you think these things went on, and maybe where this is going, and have a more in-depth conversation.
Timothy Bladen responded real quick. He said, I told him I thought it was a mountain lion, but it was like he didn't believe me. He said it was setting on a fence. I wasn't into the Bigfoot thing. He pronounced it catamount. Probably catamount used as a Bigfoot descriptor. And then Kaiju Ninja had asked, what made you say, Joe, there's something in here? Well, we had just heard the two knocks, one that was basically as we were approaching it. And then we heard like rustling in there. We heard movement in this bamboo grove. So there was something in there. And I think it was something with hands. Jesse thought we heard that groof kind of noise once we were in there. And then Jesse thought she saw something, but it's so hard to tell because the damn bamboo's so thick in there.
Yeah.
So, all right.
Like I said, I'm going to release a video on Wednesday. And so that way our members can see the lay of the land of that area that we'll be investigating, and everybody else can see it as well. We're opening the case on the Grove, and it's going to be a place that we go to more often and really, really go in depth on. I will probably include some more of that bamboo grove footage from that live stream in that video on Wednesday too, so you guys can see some of that. I'll definitely include this tree knock stuff that I showed you guys earlier in this show, so that you guys can review that again with all the replays on it and the increased in volume.
Hawks had some wild stuff going on there. I'm gonna have to reach out to him and get some information. He's got some crazy stuff that's very interactive. Talking about what a great interviewer you'll be. Arnaldo has popped back out. He's been MIA for a while. He has welcome back. Them damn hobos. Because I do say at one point that I was going, there's no way it could be homeless people back in here. But even then I'm going, is there somebody staying in here? That was not people in there. I second guess stuff like this all the time. I ain't second guess this. Those were not people in there. That was just not.
Oh, you mean like your Dogman Thermal that was the escaped kangaroo?
Was the escaped kangaroo. So thanks for subscribing, Logan Tomlinson. Welcome to the channel.
Yes, welcome to the channel.
We do not have a dog. We will maybe eventually get another dog, but our dog passed away a few years ago. So we don't, and we had a massive
dirt,
pit bull
outdoors,
who hated being outdoors,
bugs.
hated bugs, he hated dirt, so he didn't do this with us. The 2 times we tried to take him were just abysmal failures, and we'll eventually probably get another dog. So, but not right now. Yeah, see, Timothy Bladen thought he was a juvenile Sasquatch. Huh. Interesting. You can reach out to us if you want to that email.
Yeah, absolutely.
Timothy. So please do.
And I'll write down the info on that.
All right.
Guys,
we're wrapping. It was pandas. I don't know what it was, man. Once I got in there, that's when I just went, these homeless people, we have found what might have been the remnants of people who were homeless after the tornadoes in Kentucky near the LBL. They were on the edges of the LBL. This is not the edge of anything. This is not anything where I don't see this being somewhere where somebody would. It's too damn. It's inhospitable in there, man. It's difficult to move around in. It's difficult to do anything in there, man. But something's doing it. Something's in there. So
Lady
All right.
Wolf is calling it a night. I think we're going to wrap.
I think we're wrapping up here too, folks. Hey, thank you for everybody.
Last call. Last call. If you guys have anything else
Yeah.
you want to throw out there, now is the time. We're
Thank
doing
you for the
last
people
call
that
right now.
contributed tonight, people that joined up to the memberships. We
Yeah.
appreciate it. Thank you for the new
Welcome, new
subscribers.
members.
Thank you. So
Yep. If you just joined the membership, make sure you go and explore the members area. There's tons of videos there from our last expedition in the LPL. We do a lot of scouting out there. There's lots of members videos for you to check out. There's tons of content for you to check out. We have our members only community page up where we share photos and make announcements for these lives. We do a members only live on-site investigation at least once a month. And we have a lot of cool stuff coming up for 2024 for everybody and members. Of course, we're going to take care of everybody on this, but we have so many cool destinations we're going to be hitting this year.
we got a busy year headed up ahead of us. Real quick, Specialist Ramirez had said, "Why is it sometimes Bigfoot don't give off the stench and be close by?" It could be a controlled release of musk or something like that. I mean, mountain gorillas have a musky scent that they will release under, and I'd have to look it back up because I don't spend a lot of time on gorilla research because I don't think these things are gorillas, but they have the ability to sometimes release a musk, and I think it is when they are trying to scare off rivals from.
Yeah.
Somebody can Google that and correct me, but there are animals, most notably being skunks, that will release smell sometimes at certain times. They can actually emit it for whatever reason. So it might be that. So it might be that you're dealing with two different things. You might be dealing with one creature that looks like a Bigfoot, stinks to high heaven. Another one looks like a Bigfoot, doesn't smell. So I don't know. I don't know.
Just don't know. But thank you guys. Thank you, Hellbenders. Thank you for joining us today. I'm going to play some music on the outro. Thank you guys for all of your kind words and all of your cool questions and everybody being awesome. Everybody that joined up, everybody keep an eye out for the video this week so you guys can see that gorgeous swamp area. It is beautiful. So, looking forward to it. We've got a lot to do.
If we end up back in that area, and I'm not going to say when we will be there because again, we don't want to announce where we're going to before we go to it anymore. But turn your notifications off, turn them back on.
Just to make sure that
to make sure, because a lot of people didn't get a notification there. So sometimes we're going to give you guys a lot of notice, but sometimes we might just go, we've got signal, there's some weird stuff going on. Let's just spring it on. Let's see if we can try to get some of this stuff out live.
So you never know when Hellbent Holler will pop right up.
So.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you on the next live on Monday.
Grace, thank you very much for that.
Grace,
thank you. Can't wait for interviews, Joe. You did a very fine job tonight. I was present. There you go. That was my contribution. So yeah.
And then keep an eye out for a video this week from that area. You can see how crazy it is and how strange the terrain is. So keep an eye out. Thank you guys for joining us. Thank you for supporting this project and supporting Hellbent Holler. We can't do it without you guys. You guys are the best.
Hawk coming in under the wire.
Hawk doing it well. All right.
Thank you, folks.
Cool.
So,
all right. Thanks, guys, so much. Here's some cool music to go out on. Oh.